Hello, this is Eric. We're building that AM 4.5 helmet. We just did the teeth and sanded off this area that was I cut off. So the teeth are nice and clean now. I used my razor knife and I cleaned them up a little bit. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our lens, and the lens comes with clear plastic on both sides. And normally I'll take off one side and leave the other side on until the new owner gets it. What I do is I take this lens and I put it on the inside of the helmet like this. I try to get it even if I can. It's not always the easiest. I want it even on the bottom of the eye and the top of the eye. And then I'm going to take a Sharpie pen, and now that I'm even in here, I'm going to kind of follow the line of the shape in the helmet. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm following this line, and I'm drawing that shape, if you can see it. And then that's going to be where your nose could sit. And it's very important that you put this in there, because otherwise that plastic sits on your nose and it hurts while you're trooping. So then I take my cutters or my shears and very carefully I cut that out, because if you take too big of a bite, it could crack your lens and then you have to get a new one. It's kind of a pain. Okay, so now I got the nose shape cut out. Hold it back up inside to make sure it looks like it fits right. Make sure it's even. Then I like to make a mark so I know what side is what. I put an X on the inside of the helmet. I put an X on the visor. So when I come back later to install that, I know which direction I cut it for. So you can see how that's going to fit in there. I'll drill holes and then I'll put it together. Set that aside. I will take my sander, and I won't do that on video, but I will sand this off so it fits nicely. So then I take my face piece and my dome cut back, and I put it together. And again, remember, I'm doing a mid-brow. This is what I call a low brow. I call a mid-brow that. You see some white here. And if I was going to do a high brow, I'd actually trim the ABS here and do just a slight arch. Not a whole lot. So it gives it the Stormtrooper type look. But this is going to be a mid-brow. It's very important that this trap lines up with the edge of this eye piece. And the same with the other side. You want the trap to line up. And then on my fingers, if your fingers are bigger and smaller, it might not work. But it gives me about 2 fingers space between the tier and this piece here. And the other side usually is a little bit less. Why, I don't know. As you can see, it's probably about a 1 finger on this side. But it's more important to get this. It's not a symmetrical helmet, so you got to keep that in mind. These aren't supposed to be symmetrical, so it's not going to be even. But it's important that these line up, the traps, so that it's right. And then I'll take my small clamp. See if you can see this. I'll stick it into the eyeball and clamp it down where I want it. I'll take the other small clamp on the other eye and clamp it down where I want it. And then I look at the brow and I see if it's got the right gap that I'm looking for. I'm going to go just a slightly bit higher. Sometimes it's tough when you get it clamped. Double check your traps. Check your traps. Take your bigger clamp, and I put it right on this edge on the tube and just below where the ears are going, and I leave about that much gap, if you can see that, and I clamp that down tight. That helps it stay in its position. I do the same thing on the other side. So it's going to look like that. Double check nothing's moved. Got about 1.5 fingers on that side. I've got 2 fingers on that side. Again, that's going to be normal because these aren't symmetrical. They're not supposed to be. I got the mid-brow that I want. Now I'm going to take my 9/64 inch drill bit and I'm going to drill 4 holes. These aren't for the ears to attach to, but these are to put the helmet together so it's got some sturdiness. The first hole I do, if you notice he puts a dimple there. I don't use those dimples. It's just my choice. If you want to, go ahead. I put in front of that dimple cut through both layers. Then I come right here in between where the tube and the cheek are, and I go really close to the edge. I'd say it's within 1/8 of an inch of the edge. I don't know if you can see how close that is, but it's pretty close to that edge. And I do the other side, same exact way. Same exact way. Now I can remove my clamps. I did forget to mention that you will need if you do it like I do, you will need a rivet gun. And I use 1/8 inch rivets and backing plates. Okay, I want to make sure I get rid of all the shavings. There's going to be a lot of them. And yes, I do sign all my helmets and date it. Then I could take my lens. Remember, I put that X on both of them so I know which side was which. Put my lens in. Make sure it's straight. Take my Sharpie pen and I mark, as I'm holding it down, where that hole behind the ear is. I do the same thing on the other side. Make sure I'm straight. And I mark the holes where they're going to be. And they're going to be not even because, again, we just guessed. Because as you can see, my 2 marks here, one there, I don't know if you can see that, and one's over here. And I'll drill those out so I can install my lens. Remember, this has that protective coating on there right now, so it's not a big deal. And the only part I'm going to take off is going to be the side that's touching the plastic here. The other side I'll leave on so the owner can remove. And that should be the side you have your mark drawn on it. So that's how I do those parts. Next video, I'll put them together and you can see how I do it. I used to use, and I still do, use rivets in this hole. But for this build, I'm going to put a bolt in there that the lens could attach so he could take the lens in and out if that's what he chooses to do. The other way, you have to do a little bit more work and drill out the rivet. But this time I'm going to do it where the lens can be removed by removing a washer. So I'll see you on the next video. See ya.